What's up? What's up, everybody? Here we are back with another one. Come on into the Rooted in Progress Stream Center. You looking around, David? You on now? Yeah. It's about that time to get this thing started. What's up, y'all? I'm your girl, Deanne King, one of the hosts of Rooted in Progress.
Yep.
How you feeling today, Terrance?
Hey, I'm good. Terrance Middlebrooks here, co-host with the lovely Deanne King. Ready for episode 5.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's. I feel like this is an episode, like we talk about money, like rap, all the music artists, they talk about money. We talk about money. Like money it means a lot, in our community, just in life in general. So why not talk about the rise in Black entrepreneurship? It has been, I think you can speak to this. We've both been in the Tampa Bay area for several years, and there's a huge difference in the amount of Black-owned businesses. And I'm not just talking about restaurants. I'm talking about across the board. Could you agree?
Absolutely. And, all of us, fortunately, you and I work for a company, but I feel like all of us have entrepreneurship in our blood, some form or fashion. It's just the fact, do we truly know, or are we truly motivated to be able to get up every day, work every day, and go through the actual loops and bounds and the hurdles and the mountains to obtain it.
Right.
Yeah. So, but we have these fantastic guests in here today to help us through that.
Yes, to talk about this. Honestly, entrepreneurship, it ain't for the weak.
It's not for the weak.
It is not for the weak, baby, because you are by yourself. You got to figure it out by yourself. You want to test
your work ethics, become an entrepreneur.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are going to talk about all things entrepreneurship, y'all. We're going to hear incredible stories of how a very successful entrepreneur got to where she is today. And we're also going to get some tips. We're going to talk about resources. We're going to talk about ways that as a Black community that we can uplift each other, and ways that you yourself, if you're at home, maybe you're tussling with an idea and you're like, man, I want to become an entrepreneur, or like maybe you want to quit your job and start with TikTok and become an influencer. And those, they're still entrepreneurs. They have their own business. So we're going to talk about what life looks like, how you can get there, and hopefully provide some resources. We got to give it up for our guests in the building this morning. We got some heavy hitters here today, Terrance. We got heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters.
Everybody give it up for Chef Mel, Chef Melly. She is... I'm sure a lot of people have probably been to Coasis. Have you been to Coasis, Terrance?
I have not been to Coasis. Don't tell nobody.
Oh, you got to come to Coasis.
I know, right? I know.
Oh, God. We're off to a rough start.
Yes.
I've been to Coasis.
I'll be right back. My stomach's growling. I'll be back.
I've been to Coasis several times. Chef Mel, she's a CEO, entrepreneur, owner of Coasis. She has been in the food industry for so long. So we're going to hear about her story. But then we have Senior Vice President David Christian of Regions Bank. Yes. David, you're no stranger. Bank. You've been to Regions Bank?
I've been to Regions Bank.
David is no stranger to the Rooted in Progress family. David, we're happy to have you back. You were a part of our special. How you feeling? How you been since February?
It's been fantastic. It's always good to be with you all. It's always good to be a part of what you guys are cooking up over here.
Awesome. Yes.
Literally. Let's go ahead and start with you, Chef Mel, because I feel like I was doing some research, and looking into how much have we grown as it relates to Black entrepreneurship. So Forbes actually put out an article. They said the entrepreneurship boom, it's evident in the Black community. So the number of Black self-employed professionals jumped from 1.1 million in February of 2020 to 1.2 million in February of 2022. And there are currently more than 2 million Black-owned businesses in America. One of those is your business. Yeah. Let's talk about your journey as a Black woman, and as a person who wanted and had aspirations to become an entrepreneur. Where did that come from?
Oh, man, it started early for me. Like, even in high school, I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always knew I would be something great. Even still to this day, being in business and having the restaurant and having the food truck and opening up a new restaurant, I still dream. I'm a huge dreamer. I'm never comfortable where I'm at. So right now, I'm also dreaming about my next level. I'm already in 2030 right now.
Okay.
So that's my mindset. So it's just been instilled in me. Growing up, we had lots of family businesses, from car washes and restaurants. This is funny, but my dad owned his first restaurant at 14.
Okay.
Don't ask me how, but
I was about to ask how.
Yeah, back in the day, he put it in his mom's name, some weird stuff like that.
It's
But
okay,
he had
Dad.
a fish market in Miami and then a restaurant in the back. So it's just always been instilled in me, to go out and get it and create my own foundation. So I think that's been super important. But most of all, I think for me, I would like to break generational curses. Yeah. I would like to do the things that they say we cannot do. I think everybody around me, for sure, like my friends, they're number one. The first African American pilot. We're me and Seventh and Grove and all these other Black-owned businesses. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they're led by women.
Yeah.
So that's super important for me. But also just just being that one, because I think what's happening right now in our community is, if I could do it, you could do it.
Period.
Right. And I think that's just what it is. I think that's what's happening with the growth of Black-owned businesses. I have so many people come up to me and say, if I'm at the restaurant, it's like, man, Chef Mel, you're inspiring us. I know I could do it. I know if you could do it, I could do it. And then, coming from where I came from, I had that same mindset. If I see you do it, I know I could do it. If I'm sitting here watching TV and something major is happening, I have no doubt in my mind that I can't make that happen for myself.
Period.
So that's just the way I see life. I'm always super inspired. I'm always teachable. I know it's a lot of opportunity out here. I know it's a lot of money out here. I'm getting to it.
Hello.
And I don't waste no time. I ain't leaving no opportunity on the table. I'm here right now.
Yeah.
Taking this opportunity.
Yeah. Chef Mel, my thing is, what makes you different? Like when you want to go into the business, entrepreneurship, again, you just mentioned why you went to the restaurant route. But, we look at you turn every corner, there's a new restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Two questions, actually. So why the restaurant industry? And then what keeps you afloat? You've been in the restaurant scene for, a year and a half now here in Tampa?
A year and a half.
Yep. And so what keeps you afloat? What separates you from other restaurants around the corner, across the street, across town?
Okay. So I guess the first question was why the restaurant?
Yeah.
I was in a food truck. I started in a food truck.
That's why I met her.
Yeah,
I sure did.
So I have another business called 3 Generations Food Truck and 3 Generations Catering. And
serial entrepreneur, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we do this for. But we opened up the food truck, and the food truck did amazing. The food truck went all around the world. Every Spectrum network, everywhere. And when I seen the rise of the food truck, my customers was asking me, "Hey, Chef Mel, when will you open up a restaurant? We love it here. We love the vibe." I mean, we had NFL players. The field that I was parked in, they would practice in my field while they're waiting on my food. And I just feel like you can't get that vibe with a lot of people. So when my customers asking for the location, I wanted to provide that for them. They're like, "Hey man, I'm tired of sitting in this line. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of doing that." And I constantly hearing that kept beating down my ear. And I said, "All right." So we went into a food hall. And then I outgrew the food hall the first 6 months. My crowd overpowered the other restaurants to the point they were saying, "Hey, we're not going to let..."
Was that food hall in St. Pete?
It was the 22 South Food Hall. And, shout out to them. But I had to get up out of there because it was like, oh, man, my crowd is overpowering the other restaurants. And these people, they wasn't making as much money. They wasn't seeing the crowd. But we had people from all over the world that was coming out and seeing me. So that's why we opened up the restaurant. We opened up the restaurant for the people. What makes me different from other restaurants or the restaurant that's around the corner is our vibe. We have a huge sign in our restaurant that says "Your vibe attracts your tribe." I'm the co-owner of the restaurant. I own that restaurant with my partner Brandy Gergel. And that's something that she always said, "Hey, your vibe attracts your tribe." That stuck to me. That stuck to me. And I think in any of my, I can say this, from the heart and say, the way my customers gravitate towards us, we're never too big. We're never too high. We're never too, like, we're growing, but you can come up to us, you can give us a hug, you can talk to us, you can ask for advice, you can ask us how we did it, and we're gonna tell you right then and there, right? And I think the vibe that we give at Coasis, what we teach our employees, like, and we're here for the people. You know, obviously we're making money, but we're here for the people. Make sure you're giving your best service. Make sure you're giving your experience. People come places for experience, right? So make sure that when your customer walk in there, you're greeting your customers, but you're not just greeting them. We're all family here, right? There's a lot of families that's coming in our restaurant. There's people from all over the world. We're 60% out-of-towners and we're 40% locals.
Wow.
I asked one thing from God when I got into business, and I said, make me a business where travelers come in, people come in from all over the world, right, to experience my cuisine. Well, on weekends, if you walk around my restaurant, you got Cincinnati in there, you have Alabama in there, you have people from London in there sitting at the bar. I'm here. I patronize my business. I sit at the bar. You know that, Deanne.
You sure do.
I have a drink. So my ear is to the streets. They don't even know who I am most of the time, and it's okay. I'm just sitting here listening to what they're saying. So that's what makes us different. I patronize my business. I love my business. I love my customers. I support my customers. We support our community, and they love that about us, right? Just being good, decent people, being genuine, and I think that'll take you super far in this world.
Yeah, and that's real, and I know that because I see it, right? It's not something that Chef Mel is just saying. It's literally, you walk in there, and it's like family in there. And even just the growth that Coasis has had in a year and a half from where you all started, it has been phenomenal.
No, it's been dope.
It has been phenomenal.
It's been more than I could ask for. Yeah, we so me and my partner, we purchased that building. It was super important to make sure that, you know, her biggest thing was like, hey, let's purchase the commercial real estate. The economy was crazy at the time, and we did that. But constantly, you know, renovating. You seen we renovated it, and we went crazy on the renovations.
Y'all did.
Wasn't scared to do that because the support from the community has been amazing. They put money into you, put money into your business, and watch you grow. And that's what has happened there. We're actually outgrowing that space. So
low key.
Yeah, we have another restaurant opening in St. Pete in a couple months. So I'm excited. I have no complaints, man.
I'm excited for you. I gotta bring David into here because it's like, David, when you hear stories like this and being on the banking side of things, what does it even take for somebody to get to where Chef Mel is?
So Terrance started by asking the question, you know, what makes you different? So think about where you go, regardless of what it is. And Chef has described it. She's created a culture. She's created an environment. And you think about places in this city and other cities that become iconic that you say, I'm going to Boston, but you got to go to X.
Right.
Well, why did that happen? Because somebody created exactly what she's doing here. They created a vibe that has attracted a tribe. I dig that. I'm going to use it. Right? And that's what eventually sets you apart. It's the people aspect. Yeah, the food's got to be good and the parking's got to be right and all those things that drive you crazy if you can't have the overall experience.
Right.
But what's most important is when you go inside, do I feel welcome? And do I feel a part of this experience?
Yeah.
And that's the, if there's an easy part of entrepreneurship, that may be the easy part. The tough part is okay, now taking all that growth and keeping the doors open.
Yeah.
And how do we build this to restaurant 2, 3, and 4, and then franchise this puppy to, you know, to now become, not only are we in the Tampa Bay area, but we're across the Southeast.
Speaking of opening the door or keeping the door open, how do you even open the door, David? How do people who, some of our listeners right now and people tuning in, they're sitting at home and they have these same dreams that Chef Mel once had, right? How do they get there on the financial side of things?
You know, this isn't a shameless plug for Regions, the organization I work for. There are a lot of great financial institutions, but we listen.
Yeah.
You've got to have you can't be afraid to reach out and find a banker because all businesses need capital. You're going to grow. There's nothing wrong with debt as long as you use debt the right way.
Right.
And a lot of people are afraid of debt.
Yeah.
Whether it's leveraging the equity in your home. Hopefully you don't have to leverage, your credit cards, but sometimes it works that way. But once you get to a banker that is willing to sit down and hear your dream, understand where you're trying to go, and if you've got a solid plan, again, listening to Chef, she's already talked about where she wants to be strategically by 2030. That's what a banker wants to hear. What's your strategic vision around what you're doing?
Yeah.
How many people is it going to take you to get there? What will ultimately be the cost to get you there? We are not particularly in this industry. We are about creating dreams for people.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing makes me more excited than to drive by a business that we invested in or that we made a loan to and go, man, they are thriving.
Yeah.
So one, you've got to assemble the right team. That has to include a banker, should include a CPA or somebody that helps you understand your numbers, because you've got so much coming at you as an entrepreneur.
Is that a hard step, Mel? Like what did you do? Did you kind of do what David is saying? Did you go out? Did you get a banker? What did that look like for you?
So we did not get a banker. So I purchased the food truck out of college. I'd saved up some money. I worked the food truck. The food truck was making more money than I could spend.
Wow.
And when I say that, I mean, you make a certain amount of money. I'm sure I could have spent it and blew it, but it was making enough to where I was able to purchase another food truck. So, and I asked my partner at the time, Brandy Gergel, I said, hey, I'm making a little bit more money than I can spend. And she said, well, you should buy another food truck. And I said, well, what should I do with it? And she goes, it doesn't matter. Just buy it. Invest in something. And that was great.
Okay.
I was like, what? You know what I mean? No, seriously. And so I bought another food truck, and what we did was we rented it out. So COVID hit, and it was perfect because I was like, yes, she was right. I have an asset. I have something, to rent out and create a space for other entrepreneurs. But also there was not many restaurants open and stuff like that. So I bought another food truck, and then I made more money. I bought another one. So I was on my third food truck at the time. So I had acquired that much money. So for me, I tell people like, how'd you do it? Did you get a loan? No, I worked. I worked for real. I worked super hard every single day. I was probably like 150 pounds at the time, working every day in and out, promoting myself, pushing my brand. And I was excited about it. And people felt that energy, like they felt that vibe. And people would come from all around the world. You even came in.
I sure did.
And eat with me and be like, yo, where's this girl? I want to see her. So I guess that for me, and listen, it came with a lot of adversity. I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy, but the hardest part was working, like waking up every day and working and telling yourself something is going to happen from putting in all this hard work. Like something's going to hit. And that actually happened. But on the restaurant side, we did not. So we kind of worked with a banker. Brandy worked with, obviously, the SBA, which was amazing, like the 7-day loan.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know about that. Any chance we get, we try to just like talk to people, like chat about that. So we did that step. But when it came to funding, the funding came from the food truck. And then Brandy, she also owns B. Blaze Hair Boutique, which is a hair salon in St. Pete. And then we sell the hair extensions, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, people don't know.
Bundles, inches,
yeah.
period.
That's a huge business. I didn't even know how big it was, how much she was making. But I seen what it did for her, and I seen what it did for us. So we took the money that we were making, because we didn't open a restaurant until 10 months. We had to do a full renovation there. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to put the food truck outside the restaurant, and I'm going to pay this mortgage. And that's exactly what I did. And I said, I'm going to pay this mortgage with the food truck. Food truck was making enough money to pay, a couple mortgages, paying our bills. So I did that, and she kept the place going. And then we got that Toast. It was our POS system. Toast gave us our first capital. Right, so it was a small amount of capital, like $15,000. But guess what? It was enough to,
To make something shake.
To make something shake,
Yeah.
right? So, and then we're already working with, distributors in China because of Brandy Hair. So we had these resources from, what she knew.
Yeah.
Hey, we can go get the furniture here. They're going to produce it. The highest part about, purchasing furniture is going to be in shipping, right? So I think it was the small resources from us starting bottom floor, right? Redoing
And you
the
developed
food
it
trucks.
along the way.
Yeah, and we developed it along the way. So,
But now y'all work with a bank.
we don't.
Oh.
But you will.
We still have not. So,
Oh.
so we
Wait,
also
we gotta hear
have.
from David.
But-
We have an
Oh.
amazing CPA.
Yes.
Oh.
We have
okay.
we have
Okay.
a
so
amazing.
you do have a good CPA.
We have an amazing
Okay.
CPA in
Yeah.
Booker, and he
Yes.
always tell us listen, paperwork rule the world.
Ugh.
And when he said that, he's like, I don't do anything crazy. I don't do anything illegal. I'm going to just tell you paperwork rule the world, and make sure you have all your paperwork in order. And our paperwork has always been in order.
Yeah.
I think, so right now, I think when I will need a bank is, I'm thinking big now. We're thinking
Right.
really big. We're thinking commercial property number 2. We're thinking about a large mega location, right?
Wow.
That we're thinking going mainstream in a mainstream building. And that's when I said, Brandy, hey, I think we should start working with a bank. Our paperwork in order. Our credit is good. Our first year we did 1.5 million. We're
Wow.
doubling that. We're on our way to 2.5 for this year, or even a little bit more.
We could have lunch right after this
Oh,
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Come on.
we're not even open full time there yet.
Yeah.
So, they say if you make under $120,000 in a restaurant, you're failing, right? And that feels right. I think that's absolutely right. So I think that's so when I seen David on the podcast, I was like, oh, look
Perfect.
at God.
Look at Rooted in Progress.
Yeah,
Right,
look at
right.
what you
Can we
did there.
get a cut?
So Chef Mel, this is David Christian. David Christian, this is Chef
Nice
Mel.
to meet you, David.
Yes.
Yeah.
So David, my question to you is, again, we know the statistics are out there. Restaurants fail within the first year of existence. They have demolished that stat, right? And basically, the bottom line is because of hard work and effort. She was hungry. She's on a mission. She has a passion. So technically, when should a small business or entrepreneur partner up with a CPA or partner up with a bank, or how? And also, how do you go about getting yourself surrounded by those professionals?
We everybody's got a telephone, right? Everybody's got a smartphone.
Yes.
Right.
So, one, outside of the traditional way of, okay, one is calling a friend. Who did you
Okay.
use? Who do you know? Same thing
Networking.
we do networking. Same
Yeah.
things we do when we're looking for a good doctor
Right.
or somebody to cut your grass. Who do you use? There are folks out there, and it's got to be right for where you are from a size perspective. If you get a good CPA, at some point, truth be told, you may outgrow that CPA,
Yeah.
and that's what you want.
Because that shows growth, right?
Because that shows growth.
Yeah.
But some folks want to jump in and be, the $1 million, $2 million business overnight. Well, she's already proven that takes work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get there because, well, geez, I just want to be the next leader in this particular industry. You got to put the time in for that.
Right.
So, one, it's networking, to get back to your specific question. Two, it's, again, there are enough folks in the industry, and when I say in the industry, in the banking industry or financial services industry broadly, for you to be able to reach out and touch somebody, just to have the conversation. And I go back to, I think if you walk into one of our branches today and say, this is a dream I've got, our people are going to listen to you. And they're going to connect you with the 7A person or with the restaurant person. We have people who do nothing but franchise and restaurant financing.
Okay.
That's their specialty. They are not folks who, finance commercial real estate. So
Yeah.
they will have an eye to understand exactly where you are in your business cycle and what it's going to take for you to get to the next phase.
So someone at home pulls up to Regions Bank
Yep.
and they say, I want to start a business.
Yep.
What should they have already in order?
Well, and again, it goes back to life cycles and where you are. If you're at, geez, I'm just thinking about this,
Okay.
then there are other programs like Black Business Investment Corporation in town. There are other entities that we work with as a larger financial institution that help prepare entrepreneurs to get to that point,
Yeah.
and seeking those programs out at a local level, whether it's SBA, whether it's something through USF, whether it's there are a number of local programs that focus on entrepreneurs that help get you what we call bankable.
Okay.
So
Then they move on to the bank.
then they can move on to the bank.
Okay.
But there are banks too. You've got, again, to give a plug to the community banks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's smaller community banks that serve certain markets. Then you get to a regions. So it's all about growth in where you are as a company and being able to understand, you know, I haven't even sold a widget yet. So what does that look like?
Yeah.
And who do I need to talk to? And maybe I just need to talk to other entrepreneurs who are doing this.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Your network is your network.
What is your network?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
well, my question is, so when do you decide that you want to jump in and perhaps get investors versus
wow.
doing what Chef Mel did? Chef Mel, they stayed on the grind. She took advice from a friend and bought a second food truck, bought a third food truck. You know, sometimes when we get to that point of accomplishing the first step, then you start getting that plug. And Chef Mel, I don't know if you was ever approached or have you ever been approached with some investors?
Somebody want to invest.
Yeah, to help you get to that next step, which in your case would be commercial.
Before you answer that question, and what a great, there are a number of minority venture funds. Some that we, as a bank, that we fund to make loans and investments in minority companies.
Oh, wow.
As a shameless plug, but there are not, I think, out of the number of true venture capitalist funds focused on minorities, there may be less than 5 in the country.
Wow.
So that tells you, from a true venture capitalist perspective, companies out there that are looking at that have the bandwidth to look at making significant in venture investments in companies across the U.S. So we've got to do a better job of building those, but there is nothing wrong with saying, if I can go find a venture fund or an investor who's going to take whatever they take, X amount, once I grow to X, Y, Z, but they're going to invest. I mean, it's Shark Tank.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It is. You're right.
It's Shark Tank. And those folks are saying, I'm in at $1 million if for 5 years and I'll get my return and I get out of your way. But then you're a $10 million institution,
Wow.
all things being equal.
Have you thought about that? Has anyone approached you?
Yeah, but people started approaching me at the food truck.
Oh.
They wanted to see 3 Generations become 3 Generations restaurant, and that's why we're doing the second St. Pete location. So it started early. I mean, it started with locals, like local businesses.
Okay. Wanting to invest in your business.
Wanting to invest in my business to create other locations, because that's what they seen.
That's big.
Actually, the guy who sold me my food truck, Ramon, who owns People's Cafe,
Okay.
and St. Pete, they're one of the oldest Cuban cafes in St. Pete. he sold me my first food truck. He was the first person to, he tried. Yeah, he was like, I don't want to sell it. Well, no, he tried. He was good. He was slick with it. Like, shout out to Ramon. I love him to death, man. He created that foundation too. But he was like, when I went to buy the food truck, he's like, well, I could work out a little deal with you. And, if I like it. And he just believed right away.
Wow.
But I did my first pop up at his restaurant over in St. Pete. But I when I first started, I was like, no. I was like, I want to give it a shot by myself. Like, I want to try it by I actually had two people. He was one, and then another person did the same. I mean, this is before I even opened up the food truck, because we were doing pop-ups and stuff like that. And that's
how y'all know
stuck
the
to
food
my roots.
good.
I was like,
right?
I want to try this by myself first. Like, I want to give it a shot by myself first, and then we'll bring in investors and stuff like that. But
you had investors for Coasis?
No, me and Brandy. So Brandy is my fiance,
right?
Obviously, my partner. Well, they don't know. He said my friend. So we're the only investors for.
Don't get it confused.
Yeah, a big ring.
It is.
Okay.
No, I'm just talking. But yeah, we were our only investors in Coasis. But we had the contractors asked to. Man, investors come at you all kind of ways, which is crazy.
Which they do.
Yes,
absolutely.
they do.
And if you are a little weak for cash, you're not, because the fear is like success. Like, you don't know if it's gonna work the way you think it's gonna work. And thankful to my partner, she does not have that fear. Like, she's gonna take the risk, whether we succeed or fail in it. We've yet to fail in it, and that's been like God's grace right there. But the contractor, when we first asked to redo Coasis, we had so many bids on Coasis to redo it. And one of the contractors, I think he did Lit as well, the club downtown. And he was like, I did my research on you, and I know this is about to be successful. How about I do the build out, but on the back end, we own and share in the company. And it was, and so he was about to do a full like remodel, like really change the whole face. It was uplift the whole community.
Wow.
And it sounded great. It was like, man, I told Brandy, I was like, no. It's like, and you see how we flipped it. We did it on our own. We did it on our own in a year.
If you go on Coasis Instagram page,
from where it started to
they have a video literally like met Brandy on the benches, like putting the TVs up, like doing
slowly.
all the things.
We ended up flipping it slowly and working with contractors now.
Yeah.
And it took a year, but we didn't like
look at that.
We didn't sell out, right? And it is not really selling out, but if you think you can do it, then just give it a shot.
You know what, Chef?
And trust yourself.
Chef, I don't mean to cut you off, my apologies, but you said the key word, take a risk, or phrase, take that risk. And I think that's the hurdle right there that we afraid to leap over, is we're scared of failure.
Yeah.
And how do you pivot? It's going to happen. Failure without success, without failure, there's no success. But I say we because I've owned my own business before. And so it comes down to the fact of jumping over that hurdle, taking that risk and that leap of faith to push forward. And when you do fail, being able to get back up and keep forward.
I'm gonna intrude right now because I'm also keeping an eye on our Facebook comments. Our video includes several Black-owned businesses throughout Tampa Bay. It opened up with video of Coasis, as we just saw. But yes, our video includes different video of several Black-owned businesses. 7th and Grove, we just saw Lepley's. This is family, y'all. So relax. I'm addressing the comments right now. Relax, please. But I want to think, I feel like when it comes, because community, right? This is everything. You're cool, like with the owners at 7th and Grove and Tyler and Jovi over there at Lepley's, and we have so many Black-owned restaurants. How do you make sure you're different from those, right? Because I mean, we can all have a piece of the pie, right? But
absolutely.
Then when you were building, so let's say Coasis, 7th and Grove was already established. Like, was there fear? And how did you come up with the concept that would set you apart from the others?
So obviously 70 Grove is like one of my favorite places. You know that.
Period. We know.
Those are my best friends over there. And so Khalil always tells me I was watching you because my food truck was open before 70 Grove. So she always say, hey, I was watching you, and they open up 70 Grove. So when I seen 70 Grove open, I flew over there. Like, I never forget. I was on the elevator. I was like, oh, I'm about to go. This is a huge black-owned business. I think they're like the biggest black-owned restaurant in Central Florida.
Central Florida. Oh, I knew it. Tampa. Oh, wow.
Which other one?
You right.
We're talking about.
They be like,
nah, I gotta give my girl. I gotta give my girl a go. I gotta give her props on that. So when I seen 17 Grove open, I went over there, and Khalil, she really wanted to meet me, and I really wanted to meet her, and I call us community partners.
Yeah.
And what that means is we share resources, right? We share resources. We show each other love. But what separated me, I knew. See, I'm gonna just say it.
Go ahead.
So it's like,
this is a safe space.
The problem with a lot of black-owned businesses, they don't want to like put SOPs in place. They don't want to like do the recipes and make sure like the recipes are consistent. Okay. And we had already had, and shout out to Helena who works with us over at Coasis. We had already put like SOP because we were actually thinking
for people who don't know what's a SOP.
It's a standard operating procedure.
There you go.
And so we had already, when people were asking to franchise 3 generations and things like that, we had put the SOPs in place, and then we started recording the recipes. I also wanted to not be in the restaurant every single day.
Yeah.
And I never forget, me and Brandy, we were having a meeting with the owners of the next restaurant we're gonna get of the location, and she said, "Yeah, Mel doesn't," and she meant nothing by this. She was just speaking from her heart. She says, "Mel, she don't know how to delegate," and I was like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Well, you don't like to get out of the kitchen. You don't like to let the employees do their thing," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And that's it. But I went home and I thought about that.
Yeah,
like I'm a thinker, and I thought about what she said. And at that point, I was like, because she know how to delegate. She like do her makeup. She likes to live her best life. She like to travel. She got the salon running. She got her online business running. And in the beginning, I did not like to come out the kitchen because I wanted to teach these people how to provide the best consistent product. And it required me to be in there, to work with them, to talk to them, to show them my expertise, for them to show me their expertise, what they can do, what they can create.
Yeah.
And then once we started doing the SOPs right away, we started doing the recipes right away. That's what makes us who we are. We are consistent. Anybody that come to Coasis, and I hope you guys see that, hey, chef, this food is the same every time we come here. Yeah. And I pride myself on that because I know we're putting in the work. We're not just shoving these people in and out the restaurant. We have a prep team, right? These prep team, they're here at 8 o'clock. So guess what? They're following the recipes. They're prepping the food. These guys, the chefs, they come in and they cook the food. So it's like a well-oiled machine, right? So now I'm delegating, right?
Come on, delegate.
So what she got to say about that now? I know she's watching because I sent it to her. But so every time we put out a product, we make sure there's a recipe for it. We make sure there's a procedure for it. I could not imagine handing over a product and not having a recipe for it, and traveling and trying to go to a new location and wondering what it tastes like. I get a little crazy about my stuff. So when I walk in there, I'm like, and we're eating the food, and my friends are eating the food, and my other restaurant owners, they're coming over and eating the food, and I get to hear the feedback. So that's what separates us.
Yeah.
Like, and I just want to say this to any black-owned business, like, if there is a disconnect in your kitchen, right, you have to make sure your people have the tools that they need to be successful, right? We have oysters. I'm not gonna have them shucking it by hand if we're selling 800 oysters a day.
I love oysters.
Give them the tools to be able to open the oysters fast and efficient.
Yeah.
And your people will tell you what they need to be successful in your space. Hey, chef, I love this waffle maker, but I think this will be better. Hey, chef, I don't mind shucking oysters like this, but if you buy this machine, we'll move faster and we can produce more food. They tell you, they talk to you. We're in a group chat. So I think personally that's what's really like. And then we from Miami.
Period.
Hey, we
305.
have an amazing cuisine that I know right now that that people don't have.
Yeah.
Our seasonings, we're cooking Caribbean and Hispanic and African American. We have all the flavors.
Can I just say that, and not that you need you certainly don't need my my stamp of approval by any means, but for what I thought was going to be a pretty boring Thursday. And I don't mean that in terms of this show. I just mean in terms
I was about to say that.
No. I'm just in terms of overall life and what you got to do to check the boxes. Yeah. This is why I do what I do, because you just fully described what we started talking about at the beginning of this conversation. Why do you take your clothes to the same cleaners? Why do you go to the same barber? Because you know you're going to get that consistent result. There is nothing worse than if you don't listen to the people who work for you and your result is inconsistent time after time. People stop going.
Yeah.
They want, Terrance wants to go and know that the chicken he ordered last week is going to have the same flavor
every single time.
Because that's his dish.
This is his favorite. And
that's his favorite.
His drink gonna be ready.
And his drink is going to be ready.
Yep.
And if I go there and it's, and so again, think about, just when you think about, and I don't care who it is, car dealers.
Yeah.
Whatever the industry is that, and we preach it to our people, it's customer service.
Bingo.
It's customer service.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care how big you are, how small you are. And
customer service is huge.
Yeah,
I will walk out of your restaurant if your servers are stank.
Anywhere.
Not like physically, but if their attitude is out of control,
Anywhere.
if they're rude, the food could be bomb, right?
Yeah.
The scene, it could be beautiful.
Right.
But if your customer service is terrible, why would I even want to patronize your business?
Well, and I work hard for my dollar. I work hard for my dollar, and I do want to spend it wisely. And so I don't mind at times paying a little high prices for a dish or a drink,
right?
As long as I'm getting the experience. And that boils down to everything from a pair of sneakers all the way to the vehicle, to vacation, to the house, to anything, is that I want to make sure I buy quality.
Right.
Or spend quality. And that goes down to even my time. If I'm spending time somewhere on something that the result is going to be great quality. Chef, one more thing I'm going to bring up, but you mentioned that having the right tools for just even the people in your kitchen, from the oysters to the oyster tools, that boils down to what David said in the beginning of this conversation, was even surrounding yourself with the right tools. So as entrepreneurs, mainly the reason why we fail is because we don't surround ourselves with the right tools. And those tools could be people, could be networking. Everything that we discussed today, we basically need. And from an entrepreneur standpoint, to get over that hurdle, to succeed, to do what you're doing, hats off to you, Chef Mel, with the success. My goodness.
I appreciate that.
That is incredible.
And to know that you did it just through true blood, sweat, and tears.
Literally. Not going
for sure.
No shade, but not going to the bank.
So
but go to the bank.
Real quick.
David said go to the bank.
So quick question.
We're going to the bank.
Quick question I ask. With those investors, even at this point, are you entertaining that right now, the investors, or?
So that's something that me and Brandy. So before I answer, I do want to say this. We also, our team, they're the same people that started with us, that works at Coasis. So I don't know if you noticed when you go in there, and shout out to my team. We have the same people from the beginning. Obviously, we had to hire more people in order to grow the business. So it's new people in there. But our bartenders, Brittany and Arden and Lala and all these people, they've the same people. They've been there from day one. That's what also separates us, because they get to see the same people, and they ask them like, hey, what's keeping you here? And I don't care what my employees say. I know that they're happy. I know we're creating a culture. We're creating a family there. So to get them to stay, I don't even think it's just about the money, obviously, but it's just about the love. Like we dine with our employees, we go out to dinner with them, and everything. So shout out to my team. I have one of the best teams, I believe, for my space.
Yeah.
But back to your question. So me and Brandy were having that conversation now. We know that I wouldn't say we'll outgrow the space. We'll definitely keep Coasis in that location. But we would like to grow our business to one where we're franchising the business, but we want multiple locations because I have more concepts. So 3 Generation is its own concept. Coasis is its own concept. And then I have a Mexican concept I like to do. I have and it's amazing food. We have a soul
you
food
came
concept.
up with the food, with the recipes?
Yeah.
Soul
So if you go on my
what do you call that? That's
if you go on it's not even soul in it. It's like
it's black Mex.
It's black Tex-Mex. You know
Black
what
Tex-Mex.
You know what Tex-Mex is, but it's like it's a black person doing it. Yeah, we make
love that.
great. I don't even know if you came for Cinco de Mayo, but our customers was blown away because that was the first time we put like
You tried it out. Wow.
and they were like, "What? Who made this?" But we have that concept. We want to do a soul food concept. Definitely like black on steakhouse vibe. Type of concept.
Here for it. Go to the base.
Smash burger concept. I dream so much.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's keep that on the
I dream
hush.
so much. I dream so much. So,
this
I mean, I'm
is
not gonna tell it. I'm just
huge.
saying I have a bunch of concepts.
That's amazing.
So that's why
That's
we
why
are
we're
now.
in 2030.
Yeah, that's why we're in
her mind is in
2030. My mind
2030.
is going crazy. But now, me and Brandy were talking, and then we have the catering company. Our restaurant, it's not holding the caterings because we're running this restaurant and we're trying to do the caterings out of it. So we're talking about expanding the location.
So
Wow.
just where I want to make sure as you think about investors, because you do think big.
I think real big.
I want you to think about the Dardens of the world and the Blooming Brands of the world. Because those folks have proven they know how to do it right. And so that's the other wonderful thing that a banker can do for you is create those introductions to folks, you know, who we bank at a larger level that have done it, and can maybe help you say, you know, don't go that way. But if you want to go that way, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I just love the way that your mindset is set, and so
It's
think about
amazing.
those big brands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
I'm literally looking at some comments and they're like, my goodness, I want to be like Chef Mel. Like,
Absolutely.
They are so inspired. And also, if you're listening in right now, you have any questions while we have Chef Mel, while we have David here, please put them in the comments. David, I want to ask you from like the lowest level you can think of, like literally somebody who is just trying to conceptualize, might not have the credit, might not have the capital, right? Because I think when you think about the Black community, money is hard to talk about. We don't grow up in a space where our parents are sharing how much they make, our parents are sharing what they have, how they got there. That's always stay in a child's place. That is, you don't need to know none of this. So what's your advice to parents? What is your advice for somebody who maybe they're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or they have children at home, right? Who might be hearing this and seeing things like this. And what advice can they give their kids without maybe spilling all the beans, right? But what advice would you give them?
If in the age today, while you are, whether it's your smartphone or the tablet, and you see it every day, I'd go anywhere and you got the parent handing the kid the smartphone and the tablet. If somewhere in there is not an app about teaching that kid how to buy his first or her first stock, if there is not some app in there that's teaching that kid about some level of entrepreneurship, I love to start with stock, because there is nothing greater than being able to say, I own a share of Apple. What does that mean? Because you're holding Apple's product in your hand.
Right.
And that translates, that's American capitalism at its, you're a shareholder.
Yeah.
So with that one share of stock, you're now going to get information in the mail about the quarterly results of Apple Corporation. And it doesn't have to be, I have to be careful about what but there are tons of names. I always say to folks, what do you do every day? What do you buy every day?
Mm-hmm.
What's in your house? Go out, Google it, and say, I am going to find a way to get my child into a situation. There are clubs out there. There are financial investment clubs for children.
Yeah.
You've got to have those conversations, even if you don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Learn together.
With the kids. Come on.
And most of them will teach you.
That's fair.
They
Yeah.
will teach you. I've got some friends who have kids who have built portfolios that I'm like, yo,
Help me.
help me. So that if there's an entry point, that is one of the easiest entry points, because and I know people talk about Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother ball of wax. But buying a share of any American company and then watching that share increase,
Mm-hmm.
that's powerful.
Wow.
So I can't wait for Chef to go public, because when she goes public,
Ooh.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
right there.
You're going to be right there
I'm going
ready.
to be right there.
No, I have a dope client. He owns like 15 publicly owned companies. Shout out to
Wow.
Chris Cole.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's important. But yeah, people in our community, numbers scare them.
They
Money
scare
scare
them.
them.
Money.
They don't like to talk about
Yeah.
these
No.
things. They don't. It's almost like if I say it, then something's bad gonna happen,
Right.
right? And
Mhm.
but
Why are we
you-
like that?
But you don't
Like, can
see
we
that
break
in the
that?
other communities. You go on the
Mm-mm.
news and it's like, this company has made so and so and so, and now they're going
Yep.
off to do this, and then now this huge fund is investing in them, or you it's like, but then it's like, oh, why'd you share that?
Right.
Why'd you say that? Or this can happen, or someone will come after you, and it's like, who? Because you're not gonna go anywhere if no one knows.
If nobody knows.
Like what you're doing, you're not gonna go to the bank. You're not gonna share. Like no one knows, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm in that place in my life. I think this is the first time I've even came, even on a podcast and had these conversations and things like that. But my mom, she was doing it to me like when we first started. She's like, yeah, I don't know if you should say that. I don't know if you should do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, this is, yeah. So
It-
know what I mean by that.
I do.
It's
I
a
do.
scary thing.
And it's a generational thing as
It
well.
is.
And we hide from ourselves. We hide from other business, and this person don't need to know what you're doing, and that person. And you see all these and we say, oh, it's so many Black-owned businesses in Tampa. It's Black-owned restaurants in Tampa. It's not.
Yeah.
It could be so much more.
So much more.
Right.
We
Yeah.
go to other cities and they're everywhere on
Yep.
every corner. And I always say, like, why isn't it like that here? Well, obviously the real estate, the rent is really high here. It's hard to pay the bills. So that's one thing. But I don't know. And I'm working on that myself.
Yeah.
And I think we're all we're trying to become more resourceful, and we want the resources to come to us. We have to open up more. Sometimes when I'm in my space, like so many great people come by and I said, wow, I need to start making myself more available. Just like meeting you.
Yeah, he
we
said
could
go
do
to
lunch.
lunch.
Typically, I'll be running out of here. No, seriously. You
Yeah.
know, we went to Mountain Fortune last night, and Khalil, she does great
Yeah.
with.
Oh, Kalia is.
She's gonna like make that stamp. Khalil's
Yeah.
gonna tell you exactly what
Yeah.
70 Grove did, how they did it, who she partnered with. she's big. She talks. She talks it. She talk it. She walk it like she talk it. So like I say, shout out to Khalil. But she's gonna put you in those places. She's gonna introduce those people, and dinner is gonna happen, and it's gonna happen at her location.
Yes.
Right. Hey Mel, so and so is over here. We're gonna have it at Mountain Fortune. We're not going anywhere else to have this dinner. So. I
so
think
it sounds like that's where y'all meeting.
Yeah,
That's it.
At my location.
It sounds like we need to set up a food tour.
Food is fun. You know, I like to eat.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And people watching and listening, I really hope this resonates with people in our community on so many spectrums, right? If you are an aspiring entrepreneur, if you're a current entrepreneur, learning to network, learning when it's time to get that CPA or move from that CPA to the bank, and what kind of bank do I start with, and then how do I grow? There's just so many things. And then having that community, like you said, like to be able to share with other people who are like-minded, who have the same goals, because Mel, I guarantee you so many people are just as hungry as you are and were when you started, but they don't put the action behind it. So they will never get where you are. And hopefully these stories and hearing from David is a Black man and a senior vice president of Regions Bank. Where you see that at?
Absolutely.
These are people in your community who are right here.
Yeah, these are the Black jobs. Just wanna say
No!
shout out to David.
I've been holding on to it.
Hey, shout out to David. We doing the Black jobs, David. For real. I wanted to say that.
I gotta add this.
Yeah.
I gotta add this one, y'all. So look at other as I hold my laughter back, and we'll have that laughter.
David is keeping it all together.
I am. But
Okay, I'm listening.
I want you all to think about this, because this is so good. So we talked about hair and hair extensions. What an industry.
Yeah.
Let me give you a couple more. Nails, pedicures,
Barbershops.
but what I'm trying to get to is, when you walk into those establishments, you see certain people, certain ethnic groups that obviously have worked together, who have partnered with each. You can't just go open a nail salon in a strip mall in Brandon unless somebody helped you. But you see a consistent theme in the folks that are opening those shops.
You're right.
You see it in a consistent theme in the folks who own the gas stations, and
You hitting it.
there is a culture there of people who are clearly talking to each other.
Yeah.
Hey, the gas station at this corner is available.
Come on.
Hey, we can open a shop in Wesley Chapel, one of the largest growing. That is not happening by happenstance.
Right.
We need to start that in our community.
We have to have. Where is ours?
Yeah.
They don't tell you. You really have to. We got our CPA from an attorney I worked for when I was 19.
Wow.
And John Gadd law firm. So and I, because I was so intrigued by him. He's also a pilot. He has his own plane. And I was so intrigued by him, and Brady ended up meeting him, and I was like, "Hey, John, who's your CPA?" We were, because look at him, and he's like, and so, and don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask the questions.
Seriously.
Exactly.
I'm gonna ask, and you can tell me yes or no.
Period.
And
it does not change what I feel when I walk away.
No,
if you say no, I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And we're still okay.
We're still okay. We're still alive.
Yeah, and people need to understand that,
for sure.
And just hanging around people that's doing something, that's having something. Yeah, how'd you do this?
Awesome.
Hey, how'd you get that? How'd you open that up? I do. I don't care.
Fantastic.
I'm nosy.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Yes.
Y'all have inspired me today for sure.
Absolutely.
I might be going to the bank soon, doing some things.
We're definitely going to the bank. For sure.
To see Brother David
I
Christian.
love y'all.
Yes.
I cannot wait. What you say,
me in-
Regions?
Regions. That's right.
Bump Bank of America.
You go to Regions, and you go to Regions. I know that's right.
The views of this podcast is not sponsored.
It's not sponsored.
Hey man, I love the both of you all.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming and
Thank you
hanging
for
with
having
us
us.
and dropping. I gotta share. A young lady said y'all have just been dropping gems and pouring into the community simultaneously. So we appreciate what you all do. Individually, what you all do for the Black community, because y'all make me so proud.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm very proud. So hopefully, as a community and together, we can just grow from this.
And thank you guys for being rooted in progress.
Period.
Absolutely. Bless you.
We're gonna build this Black entrepreneurship up in Tampa, Terrance. That's the goal here. We're having these conversations, and we're gonna revisit, like Mel said, like, have we grown as it relates to the Black-owned businesses here throughout the Tampa Bay area? And so we have so many statistics I didn't even get to because y'all's stories were incredible, but we'll drop it in a web story on WFLA.com. But we really appreciate y'all joining and hanging with us on this Thursday morning. Y'all know we here every week.
Every week.
Every single week. Make sure you
Yes.
tune in, WFLAnow.com, and on Facebook. We stream live, Rooted in Progress, every Thursday. And then if you can't catch us live, you need to go ahead and join and share and watch and
Subscribe.
listen. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
Thanks, Terrance.
Always.
Subscribe
Always.
on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then you can also watch the episode back on YouTube. So we appreciate y'all hanging with us. Go to the bank.
Stay rooted.
Yeah, go to the bank, period. Y'all have a good one.
Take care.